Welcome aboard this jam-packed edition of A Strange New Pod. Get ready to get your choo-choo on.
Choo-choo!
Choo-choo!
I think I'm going to have my choo-choo-choo on.
Yeah. No need to raise red alert. We're still doing our Lower Decks episode review this week in just a little bit, but we also decided to make this week's bonus pod a full-length episode in honor of what ended up being a really awesome Star Trek day. So we're going to be talking about the Star Trek Discovery Season 3 trailer. We're also going to be talking about what our show is going to one day be about, the Strange New Worlds panel, which I also thought was fantastic. So let's get right into it. I am your captain and host this week, Julian Brown. At the helm is our resident ensign, Brittany. At odds, our trusty Lieutenant Hawk. And the man behind... Hey, making sure our new live streams go off without a hitch, Rear Admiral Eric.
Rear.
Bringing up the rear. He's a booty man.
And we'd also just like to say hello to anyone who is watching live on stream. That is on stream on
technically.
Twitch. It is technically. And yeah, so welcome to you guys. Obviously, if you're listening in podcast form or watching on YouTube, welcome as well. And why did I decide to go down to everyone's rank? Because it was Star Trek Day and it was fun. So there. As always, a big thank you to Sam Dillard and Samo Studios for our awesome intro and outro music. So as I said before, we are covering some of the bigger pieces of news to come out of the Star Trek Day. First, we'll break down the Season 3 trailer for Disco. And then there wasn't a whole lot of new info, guys, for Strange New Worlds, but it was still a really cool panel. Just getting to see Anson and Ethan and Rebecca Romaine all together with the writing room, and got a little emotional and heavy there at the end.
Every time I see Rebecca Romaine, I add 5 years to my own life. She graces the screen, and I'm like, I have the will to live again.
And then finally,
ransom to live.
Yeah.
Oh, well done.
We'll have our Lower Decks episode 6 review before closing out with some mailbag. We do have mailbag, not a lot, but we do have it. So thank you for everyone who did write into us. And if you want to get into mailbag, you could also comment if you are watching live. Go ahead, get in the chat, ask us some questions, thoughts on what we're talking about, and we'll get to those. So that was a lot to get through. I'm going to need some coffee. I'll get some from the replicator because, that's what they do. I'll get it from Janeway's reserve stash there. And if you happen to be running low on coffee, check out our friends at Logical Coffee.
Tired of fresh coffee that loses its kick and tastes the same as every other brand? Unlike coffee that sits on a store shelf weeks after it's roasted, Logical Coffee is made to order and starts with fresh green coffee beans. This Star Trek-themed coffee is roasted to perfection in small batches and sealed away in one-way valve bags as soon as it cools. Your coffee will arrive on your doorstep with the roast date right on the bag, so you know it's the freshest coffee in the Alpha Quadrant. A cup of warp drive? Make it so. It's out of this world. Don't settle for the same replicated coffee. Make the logical choice and order Logical Coffee. Use the code ASTRANGENEWPOD to get 20% off your first order. Live long and drink coffee.
As usual, guys, wouldn't be an episode of A Strange New Pod if we didn't throw you guys for a loop, and I have a good one this week.
Is it a strange new loop?
It is a strange new loop. It happens to be space station themed because I decided to spend part of my Star Trek day before they started doing all the panels, finally getting to watch What We Left Behind, the Star Trek Deep Space Nine documentary, which was fantastic. It made me cry. It gave me the chills. Holy shit. If you haven't watched it yet, you need to watch it.
It's so good.
Wow, wait to call me out in front of the audience.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
I will watch it and I will cry. Have you not seen it either?
I haven't seen that one yet, no.
Oh, man.
It is, for us at least in the States, it's free on Prime. Oh, I have to give a shout out real quick to our friends, one of our friends over at Star Trek Discovery Pod, because Eric, Hawk, and Brittany, because you're, I guess, partially Canadian too. I just found out that Mariah, one of the co-hosts of Star Trek Discovery Pod, is originally from Vancouver.
It's all connected.
It's all connected, just like
Just look at the board.
Choo choo choo.
Choo, choo, choo.
So
Choo choo.
I was on the Discovery Pod Slack chat, and I invited her. I'm like, we need to have a Canadians only show. I'll fuck off for an episode.
We can talk about the best Canadians in Star Trek.
There you go. That would be awesome.
So I get to honorarily be in here since my
Yes.
grandpa immigrated from Canada. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I think so.
I'll just immigrate my way right back into the conversation.
I think we had the power to deputize Julian for an episode at least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Make an official Canadian.
An
I mean,
honorary Canadian.
I've been enough. I mean, yeah, honorary Canadian. I'll take that.
Yeah.
I like my Tim's bits.
Yeah, we'll have a Tim Hortona fun.
Oh, yeah.
Whoa, number one.
Number one. All right, guys. So the ASNP Strange New Pod random question of the week is: if you could write for any DS9 character, who would it be, and what would the episode be about? I wish I had the Jeopardy soundbite, but I don't.
This is hard.
Can it be an already existing episode that you redo?
I will allow it, but that's kind of cheating. But I'll allow it.
Ooh, can I go first?
Yes.
I would probably write an episode for Odo.
I was gonna say that.
I got there
Everybody
first.
loves Odo.
I think it would have to be some sort of murder mystery, and I think he would have to go like full bad cop in an interrogation room on some suspect. Yeah, that's the way I see it.
So it'd be like an Odo to Sherlock Holmes.
Number 2.
Shut up, Wesley.
First.
I don't know. It could work.
Oh, I have an idea.
Oh.
I do too, but you go first.
No, you go first. Because
No, I don't-
No,
mine
you go first. No, you go first.
yeah, you go. It's
Okay.
you. Go.
Well, we all know how much I love Jadzia Dax. R.I.P.
Oh, I already know what you're going to say.
Not in real
love her.
life, because she's alive in real life. Terry Farrell's still kicking it, so that's cool.
She looks amazing, by the way.
Yeah, she
Right?
On that panel, she looks exactly the same.
Once a model, always a model.
Right.
Anyway, like I'd believe in real life that she was a trill. Like this is definitely like her 8th lifetime, and she's like, I know exactly what I'm doing.
It's her and Keanu Reeves just going through, time
The
together.
stages, yeah, pretty much. They meet up at cons sometimes, and they're just like, oh, you're still here, yeah. So obviously, I would redo, Tears of the Prophets, because they killed off Jadzia Dax rather than just like write off her character. They're just like, she's gonna die.
I am going to spoil something for you because you're going to cry no matter what when you watch it. But she does they're interviewing her about that, and she gets so emotional. And like one of the things that she's saying in this interview is like, I didn't want to get killed off. I didn't want to die. I just wish that someone had talked to me.
Yeah, no,
And I'm just like,
that's why I'm picking this, because I
Rick Berman in
know.
Paramount.
Yeah,
Rick Berman, man. Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in my perfect scenario, not really perfect, but in my better way of sending her off, had she had to leave the show, because actors can do that without having their characters killed, I would have Jadzia kill Dukat before he kills her, because that was some bullshit. I don't care what sort of superpower you think you have. She'd protect her Bajoran artifacts, obviously. She'd probably still realize that she can't conceive with Worf, and then she'd be like, no. They'd go through like some weird breakup because things are just like a struggle. But then she would leave. She'd go find Lenara Khan, and they would go do gay shit together. So that's my, like, if you have to write her off, like if she leaves, then Worf goes with her. You know what I mean? Like, so if they wanted him to stay on the show, it would have to be something like they fall apart somehow, or she leaves for some spiritual journey.
Hello, Captain. Can I get a transfer back to the Enterprise? And can I bring my wife along? She would make an excellent officer of all trades. And John Luke would be
easy.
like, get off my bridge.
Pretty much. But my thing was, she would just tell him he was looking for Parmach in all the wrong places. Because that's the episode that they, they fight and they fall in love in.
You've thought about this for a
They start
while.
relationship.
A long time.
Well, yes. But I like that I'm finally able to talk about it. It's not like I've written a fan fiction or anything, but like
Bullshit.
nobody has time.
Shit.
If it counts in your brain, then yes, we all have for Star Trek,
It
and
does
that's
count.
perfectly fine. You need that because Star Trek will hurt you sometimes.
Oh yeah.
It's true.
But yeah, my girl Dax, Jadzia deserved better.
Yeah, she did.
And I was in it for the thrill of the chase.
Shut up, Wes.
But I will say that episode reunion when she meets up with Khan, that's like, and not like Khan, the other Khan.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The lesser con.
mess me up, man. Never watch that post breakup. Never watch it post breakup. If you're gay, I guess if you're normal, like normal.
Also,
If you're straight, if you're straight,
if you're
probably fine.
normie.
If you're normal by society standards, you're probably fine. But yeah, that's my redo.
All right.
Very good.
I don't know.
All right. So my favorite character is the station itself.
Ooh, I like it.
Yes.
So what I want to do is see past the series, and I want to see where it goes from there. In the non-canonical novels, Rolaren ends up becoming the captain on Deep Space Nine. So I would love to see that right there. Especially after
all the fucking goosebumps right now, dude.
Oh yeah, just seeing Rolaren come back and take control, especially her being a Bajoran. It just having the Bajorans take back that station and stuff. Oh, the possibilities would be amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, what a role Laren to play.
Ooh, where's the?
Find
You're
it.
hailing
Find
for-
it.
But I will agree that Deep Space Nine itself, like the station, is as big of a character as the characters on the show.
It's just
Like
like,
I
the
love that
Galactica.
happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the ships in Star Trek, I feel like play at
Voyager.
maybe not all of them because I haven't watched Enterprise yet, but the rest of them that I've seen play. You know, they have the ships themselves have a personality.
Yeah, they do go on long roads.
Like the
Getting
warp
from
core.
there to here.
I was gonna say
boy.
they all have a specific warp core.
They all
Sound.
make
No, it's more of a.
full confession. Every now and then, if Karen's not home and I have the bed to myself, I do fall asleep to the Star Trek Discovery Bridge because it's a nice mix of like the new style sounds and it also has like the old school TOS beeps and like sonar. And
Yeah,
it's just so relaxing and chill.
That's your ASMR. That's awesome.
Yeah, man.
it's the
We're
white noise more.
ASNP. We're ASNP, and that's ASMR.
I listen to the TNG bridge. That's the one I just. Yeah.
Before I go, if there's anyone in the chat, anyone watching right now, and you wanted to write for a DS9 character, let us know, and we will mention it real quick. I'm going to go real quick. I, too, have thought about mine. Obviously, my name is Julian, so I'd have to write for Julian.
Yeah.
Yes.
So my whole idea for an episode would be post season 7. It wouldn't be the season 8 that they talked about in What We Left Behind. It would be pretty soon after the events of season 7 because Julian stays behind. He's like kind of one of the few people who stays on the station. And I just, the doctors on these shows never really get like a ton of love. And I just would love to do like a day in the life of Dr. Bashir. And I would also I would finally make it official because Rick Berman and Paramount were fucking pussies not to do it. And yet I'd have O'Brien leave Keiko and get with Julian. I would
nice.
do it somehow. I don't know how, but I would.
They would also do it somehow.
There'd have to be maybe like an affair, but that's not even what my episode would be about. I'm just mentioning that they should be also an item.
Bashir, before, wherever
But
you are.
I would just do a day in the life of Dr. Bashir. And what would be really cool about it at this point, Voyager would be back too. So I would just have him like contacting and having like conversations with all the doctors that we already know and love. Like he'd get advice from Beverly and he'd be on good terms because he finds these kind of things fascinating. Like, holy shit, there's a holographic doctor and he's like a citizen. I would love to be friends with him and talk about them. Like I see Bashir and the doctor becoming like instant pals. Even they both have a weird bedside manner. Yeah,
If you know what I mean.
I would love to do an episode about that and somehow get O'Brien involved. And I don't know, Keiko and O'Brien always had marital issues anyway, so it wouldn't be that far-fetched, in my opinion.
Yeah, their relationship didn't really make sense to me because I'm just like, you guys seem miserable together. Like, you're in space and this is Star Trek. Like, you could have any life you want. Why are you settling for each other?
if you look at it from going from the Enterprise to DS9, if I'm Keiko, I'd probably be like, why the hell am I still married from this man? I was on the flagship of the Federation, and now I'm literally on this station that is in the middle of a border dispute and has seen like 3 or 4 wars. Come on.
I changed my name to K-Bye.
K-Bye.
Keiko? No, I'm Keiko no more.
Yeah.
But was she even happy on the Enterprise? I feel like she's just
She was
miserable
kinda
all the
never
time.
happy.
No.
Yeah. No.
Maybe not.
She was
Oh,
happy
the
with the
kid.
game, and that was about it.
Maybe nobody ever asked if she was okay, Ko. You know? How are you doing? Nobody ever, cares about her feelings.
Get off my bridge.
Gladly.
Oh my God. Does
But
anybody
who gets custody of the child then?
It's Star Trek, like Brittany said. I think that they would be very amicable, and they would just make it work.
Yeah.
I think they would make it work.
They would give the child to the Mandalorian, and then there would be 2 trees.
They just let
Crossover
Molly
over
work
here.
at Quarks and be like, just stay at Quarks. Quark will take good care of you. Like that's
Maybe.
it. Does anybody have any other characters or anything before we move on?
Nope.
Anything from
can,
the chat?
can I do a little thing?
Yeah, go ahead.
You guys talked about Odo, or everybody wanted to do Odo because
He's
on.
Odo.
He's a changeling. This is amazing.
Yeah, he's in the mirror.
So speaking of which, I have hopefully it'll show up 3 copies of the Deep Space Nine Odo comic.
Oh, that's the new one, right?
Yeah, the new one that recently happened. It's I hate this lighting. Anyway, pictures will be there. Just know that it's covers A, B, and the cool variant that's with it.
Ooh.
And it's got Odo on all the covers, and then on the special variant, it's him and Cisco, and it's called Deep Space Nine, Too Long a Sacrifice. So if you like that, I didn't know you were going to do a Deep Space Nine question, but since you did, if somebody wants to win this, email us at, is it astrangenewpod@gmail.com?
It is indeed.
Okay, email us at astrangenewpod@gmail.com. Tell us who your favorite Deep Space Nine character is and why. And you'll be entered for a chance to win these 3 awesome comics.
I love it.
Just let us know why you like Odo. It's cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
seriously.
Or
Basically.
Garrick, whatever.
Nice work, Brittany. That was nice on the fly there. I like it.
Yeah, they were sitting nearby, and I was thinking of doing them as a possible giveaway anyway.
Speaking of things flying, it's time to go to Black Alert. Because we are headed to Discovery Land.
I love
Keep
the land
going.
of Discovery.
Things aren't actually flying in Discovery because, as the season 3 trailer shows, and this is a very important part, both Michael and the Discovery have crash landed. I did not expect the Discovery to have crash landed, but that was a cool little reveal in the trailer. So you got to assume that they crashed far away from each other because you have
for sure.
with the book. Possibly on separate planets. Is it the same planet? It looks like the same planet.
You see that when they're like floating in space, she gets hit and gets knocked on into a different trajectory. So she's definitely not going to the same planet as that. At least I don't think so, unless it's just like a giant.
She does have
Endor-like-
to have time to grow out her hair for her new hairstyle. So she's
And-
going to have to be gone separated for a little while.
And she has to redo her shuttle, right? Or whatever living quarters she's in.
Yeah, I definitely think she's on a different planet. I don't know where she is and that. The only thing I picked up on was that when she did a scan using the suit and that and found multiple life forms on the planet.
Yeah,
Well,
that's the suit.
yeah.
That was still the computer from the suit.
Yeah, I assume she did that because if she was by herself on a like deserted planet, she'd just die, especially if her suit's like busted.
Yeah. And I think she also was just like hoping that maybe some of the other people were crew. So she's like, maybe it's not just me on this planet.
Yeah. I want to know because in the first trailer we get for the season, you see time passing in a shuttlecraft. And I'm wondering where she gets a shuttlecraft from, if that is a future shuttlecraft or if that's something that happens later in the season and they're just using it for dramatic effect. I guess we will find out when Disco hits in just a few short weeks, October 15th. Like I can't wait.
Ooh.
Does she have her braided hair when she meets Book? I can't recall.
Not
Yeah.
at first. Not at first.
No, because I think she runs into Book kind of immediately after her crash landing in that.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Maybe it's their quarters together.
Maybe Book lives in a shuttle. Maybe. Who knows?
I feel like she's gonna live in like a spaceport. That's what I want to see her in.
That'd be cool.
Just seeing people
That
go
would be
in and
pretty
out
cool.
for a while, and her trying to get the lay of the land and what's going on.
Slowly
I like
making
that.
her way back to the crew.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the ramifications of Discovery crashing, because as we know from other Star Trek series, a starship crashing on a planet is it's a big deal because these things aren't meant to go back into orbit. Most of them, except the JJ verse Enterprise, are built in space. They're not really.
I feel like for JJ verse, they said that they did the most of the construction on Earth, but then they moved it up.
Did they tractor
finish
beam it up to
space elevator or something like that? I don't know.
That'd be cool.
Space lift, space turbo lift.
Yeah. But yeah, it's no small feat to get a starship back into orbit once it's crashed on a planet. There's only a specific few ships like Voyager and a couple of others that can take off and land onto a planet. And they say, I believe Kurtzman during the panel says something like, this is a big deal. Something that is missing from the ship that will help them get there. They have to go on a quest to find it. How long do you think they're going to be stranded for? Is this going to be a multi-episode arc? Is this a pretty big deal?
It should be a pretty big deal in that. If I'm basing it off of like the crash landing of the Enterprise D in Generations, the ships are strong. They're meant to take a lot in space as far as energy weapons and that. But going skidding along solid matter at awesome high velocity, not good.
Yeah, it looks like Saru and Tilly are going off and looking for parts and stuff. So I feel like that's going to take a number of episodes. And I don't see them catching up with Burnham until at least halfway or 3/4 of the way through.
Oh, through the season.
Yeah, through the season.
Ooh, yeah. Wow. I don't know. I'm going to disagree with you there.
I'm going to say half, at least half.
I'm going to say 3. Say 3.
That seems too soon.
It does, but they only have so many episodes to work with, and reuniting them after half the season, I feel, is not the point of the show. But
it'll be impactful, though, right?
I will bet you a bottle
mid-season finale
of Ractigino or a bottle of Canar.
I like this.
We'll have to figure out how to make it.
We'll figure it out.
I think that they already got shot 930 or 950 years in the future, right?
931 or 33.
Yeah. So what's another 5 while they're trying to find their way back to each other? That's like the first 3 episodes. It could be like she lands at first, you see what everybody starts to do at first, and then it's like 2 years later, 3 years later, like something like that, and then eventually they find each other.
Oh, please don't do a BSG. As much as it worked and was good in BSG, other shows have tried to do that, like the 5 years later, 3 years later. It worked in Avengers. It worked in BSG. It hasn't worked in other places. So,
but it'll work here.
Yeah,
it works till the end of shows.
Braids will happen. There'll be succulents and quarters and whatnot.
I've been so hyped for Michael's braid, since the pictures, the posters for Discovery Season 3. I was just like, when are we getting it?
The one thing that hyped me for her in this trailer was her going, what? And I was just like, yes, that is her enthusiasm at that point was just so perfect.
I also liked her screams when she realizes there's other life on the planet. She's like, yes! And I'm like, wow, that's a lot of emotion compared to episode 1 you from season 1, who was like, I don't know how to human, though I am human.
I want to be a Vulcan.
So
I do.
Vulcan.
I want it.
I can't even deal with your emotions right now.
But then I slept with a boy and all my emotions came out. That's literally what happened. She had the fling with Ash and she's like, I'm a human now.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
I was trying to think of a Klingon type of pun, but I couldn't figure it out for that. And she clinged on. I don't know. I don't like
really
that.
Grabbed at his batleth. I don't know.
No, it didn't work out.
It was a par match made in heaven.
All right.
It looks like match if you anglicize it, I guess.
Let's move on to a character that we've seen in both trailers, and that is Book, and he is played by David Ajala, who is, if you don't know, he was in Supergirl, I think most recently. He's been in a couple of other series. He's a very good actor. I like him a lot. He says to Burnham in this trailer that the Federation has mostly collapsed after something called the Burn. And, Burnham, it's funny that it's called the Burn, and she's Burnham. We're going to get to that in the mailbag. He states is the day that the galaxy took a hard left. So shit went down. Disco executive producer Michelle Paradise states that during the panel that the Federation is still very much in existence, but obviously it's greatly diminished from the power that it once had. And as she put it, is in survival mode. First, what do we think that the burn is?
Well, I don't think things necessarily go down because they did just go left. So, directionally, Julian hates me.
Yeah, but this is something
I'm gonna get you transferred to the Titan.
Yeah. I'm not sure about the burn. What about wait, what was it? Station 80 or something like that? Oh,
Yeah.
oh damn, Station 80.
I love that. Hawk, what are you gonna say?
This was something that is much bigger than the Federation from the sounds of it, and that the galaxy takes a hard left, or the universe took a hard left in that. So we're talking about something quite
Cataclysmic.
Yeah, cataclysmic.
Oh my god, what if it's just Q? What if
I would
Q
love
appears
that.
and everybody in the universe is just like, oh god damn it, not again.
Can't wait to have
He's
him
just
come
fucking
back.
had it, and he's just like, boom.
Or Q literally shifts the whole universe like 5 feet to the left. And that's what they mean by the burn. We're now 5 feet closer to the sun. We're burning up. Ah.
I wonder if the burn is more based on what we're going through right now in the world. Well, when the writers were talking in the panel, they were talking about how close they're going to mirror the recent events, especially in the States, but it's pretty much happening worldwide right now. So it could be that a lot of the more, I don't want to say conservative, but the more extreme people take control, and then just stuff happens because of that, right?
So more of a nationalist ideology has infected the galaxy?
Maybe not national.
What if it's like
but
when you're
maybe the
secret
results of
agent?
it.
What if it's like when you're secret agent and you get burned? You know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So like what if Section 31 is like, oop, you got burnt?
Maybe.
No, they're like not really a thing, but they're kind of a thing and they will be a thing.
Yeah, it could have been like Starfleet has been keeping it set under wraps, and then like maybe the media finds out and it gets exposed, and then, you know, backlash from that. Like that could be burning them.
So I'm actually really on board with Eric's idea, because for a while after they did Picard, and we knew that Discovery was going to the future. Now, granted, it's the far, far future. That's still like 800 or so years removed from Picard. But even at that point in Picard season 1, we know that the Federation, even at that point, isn't what it used to be. It has been infiltrated. There are Black Ops missions from the Romulans who have infiltrated Starfleet.
There are ladies who wear sunglasses for no reason.
For no reason at all.
No damn reason.
No damn reason. You know, they pull a pretty shitty move by pressure from what Eric said. And again, don't want to say conservative, but more maybe like extreme political views of like, they've always been our enemy. Why would we ever help them? Like the Federation isn't what it used to be, even in Picard. So I wonder if that just degenerated more and more and more to the point where we're at in
Star Trek Degenerations.
There is a theory that it's still, and I want to get your guys' take on this, that it's still actually control, but just not as big because they managed to stop most of it, but it still happened in a less apocalyptic way. What do you guys think about that?
I could see that.
Yeah, they did leave it open-ended with control, so it's still out of their control.
I hope not. I'm hoping they developed an original kind of idea for this season and that, and kind of leave the whole AI thing alone. Because part of me felt they kind of retread that in Picard, especially with the end.
Completely. Yeah.
Yeah.
And in this most recent episode of Lower Decks.
Yeah.
There's always a good AI,
Yeah.
You got to give Bashir one thing. Let him defeat control.
Right.
One thing. Just give him one thing.
I feel like maybe this season's going to be a mixture of things. Like maybe everything we're touching on, because they left so many threads open, like there's probably going to be something, because we saw Giorgio. We know something with Section 31 is going to be involved, whether she's helping start it up, like whatever's going on, bring it into the future with her. I don't know. And then you have, obviously things left off with control, that they got rid of some of the information, but it has the rest of it. And I don't know. There's so many different things. And you always have the Federation not necessarily always following what it should be.
Yeah.
There's always shady stuff happening.
And that's a great segue. What kind of Federation do you think what are we expecting to see when Discovery season 3 starts and when they eventually find whatever's left?
I don't think there'll be like a defeated Federation. Like, I don't think it'll be a war that's the burn, but because we're so used to things like that, especially with like, them with Klingons and stuff and being, what happened? But I don't know. I feel like they're going to be retreated in some way, but not necessarily because of a battle. It might be that, like, instead of them sending out ships to explore and spreading more throughout the galaxy, maybe they are facing backlash for certain things, and they're probably not going to be as expanded.
Maybe Federation member planets have left.
Yeah, something happens that blocks them, and that's why it says the universe takes a hard left, because like they can't move forward right now for some reason. So they're like dispersing or doing something in a different direction.
Yeah.
I really think that the burn caused the majority of planets to leave the Federation. Like, we see the flag in one of the earlier trailers, and there's only 6 stars on it, whereas the previous flags have just been like star fields.
Yeah.
Just to show all the planets that have come together. And there has to be some sort of significance for that, right?
Yeah, agreed. Brittany, sorry, Hawk, you guys, sorry.
I can't even think what the Federation is going to look like at this point. Is there any unified body left, or is it mainly just sects throughout the galaxy that are still left? We don't know.
Yeah. Brittany, you mentioned Giorgio, because obviously she went to the future with Discovery.
I love her.
Yeah, Michelle Yeoh's awesome. She is with some shady characters, shocking, in this trailer. And one of them is played by the great Jake Weber, who has actually worked with Anson Mount before. So 9 Degrees of Star Trek, Kevin Bacon there.
Deep Space 9 Degrees.
There it is. Deep Space 9 Degrees. He played a kind of nasty sheriff. If there's one thing that Jake Weber is good at, is playing a real sleazy piece of shit. And that looks like kind of the kind of character he's going to be playing in Discovery. He was also in Homeland season 7 as a kind of InfoWars type of character. So that's all you need to know about the roles.
Oh, him. Yeah.
Star Trek InfoWars.
Yeah. He tells her that she has no authority wherever that she is. Is this group that Jake Weber's character is remnants of Section 31?
Ooh, Section 32.
Yeah, right. Section 13. They're just gonna flip it like Mirror Universe. Yeah, it must be someone that like kind of either picks up on the fact that she's like from the Terran Empire, or that she's involved in Section 31. You know what I mean? Like, it's one of those two things. They're either gonna find out that, you know what I mean? Because the Mirror Universe, remember Anson Mount was
you
like,
just gave me
what
a
do you mean?
Crazy idea.
You're welcome.
What if the Mirror Universe and our universe somehow like collided?
Ooh, dude, and that's why the Federation. And that's why there's only 6, because in that reality, shit's fucked.
Oh okay. Yeah, dude.
Anyway, thank my background picture.
It's all
about the whales. It's the whales.
The whales. This many stars are left.
Maybe it's a Suliban.
Speaking of species and things, you know how we're getting those 2 new characters in Discovery that they mentioned?
Yes.
They showed them.
They show Ian Alexander real quick, and they are, it looks like a Trill. There's spots everywhere. So I'm like, I love Trill. I am freaking out.
I love it.
Because I love that actor. I love that there's going to be another Trill. You know how I feel about Jadzia Dax. I almost played a Star Trek role-playing game one time, and I already made myself a Trill character. Nice. So, like, I have 0 Trill when it comes to Star Trek.
Another part of this trailer that really got my mind going is that aboard the Discovery, they've obviously gotten the ship in space by this point. Unless it's a flashback, it looks to be meeting with a Vulcan aboard Discovery, or a Vulcan. And the trailer has also revealed that he does indeed become captain of the Discovery. He's got the 4 pips on his badge and the gold shoulder badges. Doug Jones basically confirmed it for us by liking our tweets saying it. So there it is, confirmed. Not really.
I love Doug Jones.
Me too.
He's my captain. My captain.
It looks like Michael is back in gold too, which would basically make me assume that he's that she is his first officer, like she was for Giorgio in the first episode of Discovery. Do we like this move, or do you think it should have been reversed?
Oh,
I love it.
I love it.
Because even if like by the end of Discovery, she becomes a captain, it just makes sense that Saru is the captain now. because she already, like, at the beginning of the show, like, she's completely seen as like a criminal, like not even a part. She's had to slowly like rise back through the ranks and do so many crazy things to save the universe and Starfleet that she's, it's got to be a gradual progression. And especially now that she gets separated, if they don't even know, one, they can't tell anybody that Discovery or her, like that she is actually alive. That's already one thing. And then two, them actually being alive, but her not with the ship, like Saru's going to have to take over as captain. Yeah. Like he already kind of did anyway, interim, before Anson Mount was like, oh, hey there.
Yeah. I'm happy that they did Saru. Like, I'm really happy. I would have been fine with Michael being captain because I think it would, I think it would work. I had no problem with it, but it's been a long time coming. Like Saru should have been captain at the beginning of season 2, right? And they're like, oh, hey, Captain Pike. And listen, I got Anson Mount, so I'm a happy camper. But he's earned the right to be the captain of that family, Yes. So I'm stoked for that. Speaking of Michael, she is definitely caught kissing Book in this trailer. So hints of a possible romantic relationship.
I didn't need a romance, but I'll take it.
I'll take it.
It's one for the books. That's
They're
for
hot
sure.
together. I'm not.
They are
the
damn.
Satisfaction.
They are.
I will
really
give you
hot.
the satisfaction.
they are definitely hot together. So I like it. And then finally, I always like a good new comm badge, new comm badges, and a very new sleek logo for the show. They've gotten rid of the logo for seasons 1 and 2, which I never quite liked the font for anyway. So when I saw the new one, I was very excited. Overall, guys, just how excited are we for season 3?
Yes.
Yeah.
Just give it to me now.
Inject it directly into my veins. Season 3, it's sleek, it's sexy, it's discovery.
Yeah.
I like that we're going into new, like, uncharted territory, and that's what excites me the most.
Strange new world.
Yeah. It's strange new. I know I can't talk about Enterprise with you.
I mean, you can. It just will go right over my head.
There are things that we see from the future in Enterprise, but this is just like a whole different thing. Yeah. Without going into it. Yeah.
It's a wonderful opportunity in that it gets away from like kind of the dogma of the original series that preceded this and opens up the storyline so as to what can happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm stoked. I think the only person or being that isn't excited about Discovery season 3 is the new cat that's going to be on the series.
I don't know. That cat looked pretty happy for those tasty little snacks that they kept shaking at him.
And he looked happy being in the captain's chair. So
that was a big cat, man. That was a big cat.
Big Maine Coon. He was pretty awesome. Book has a cat, so everybody's excited that they're continuing the Trek tradition of cats. No Porthos this time. No beagles, unfortunately.
No.
So.
Hey, cats in space can work.
Before we move on, I also we're very happy to announce here at Strange New Pod that our bonus pods that we usually do on Thursdays instead of our main episode will be continuing, and live streams as well, all the way through season 3 of Discovery. So we'll be coming to you each and every week because it was 23 weeks of new Trek straight.
Yeah.
And that will be us. So, we would love to have you watch our streams. If anybody is watching in the stream right now and has any thoughts on Discovery season 3, let us know. But for now, we are going to take a turbo lift. There it is. Over. Look at Brittany. You got to hold on to the handrail thing in the turbo lift.
I'm going to be bored. I'm going to check my...
Wait for it. All right. We are aboard the Enterprise, and we are at the Strange New Worlds panel that was a part of Star Trek Day. And listen, right off the bat, there wasn't a whole lot of new information, but as we said at the top of the show, it was just really awesome seeing the cast together, the writers' room together, talking about the show. I did love that Alex Kurtzman kind of made it funny and said that Strange New Worlds is the longest pilot to series pickup ever, which is accurate if you go from The Cage to Strange New Worlds. I love it. I absolutely love it. He's not wrong at all. So something that we already knew from, the small bits of news that we've gotten from the show, Akela Cooper, one of the writers, and Dave Perez and Kiva Goldsman reinforced the main plan for Strange New Worlds is going to be to do Star Trek. So not the serialized stuff that we're getting now, but more, Wait, I'm getting it mixed up. Serialized is like a main
Episodic.
Yes, episodic.
Yep.
Right. Yeah. So Strange New Worlds is going to go back to being episodic instead of what we're getting right now with like a main serialized story. So that's exciting.
They're like, you'll have a little bit of plot as a treat.
Yeah.
But they
were
can't
saying
tell
that,
us, but they're like something fate, something number one's past.
but they were also saying like if something happens to one of the characters, it's not like they're just going to forget about it the next episode. There will be consequences. It's just that they're not going to make it a big thing.
Exactly. They made a very important point to say that they're going to be bringing kind of the stories that we know from like TOS and TNG, but doing it in a modern way of storytelling that we're used to, in the modern era here, but still keeping it faithful to TOS and TNG. I'm excited for Planet of the Weeks. If I know we've said it before, but it's going to be good to have that kind of trek back on TV.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be nice to be able to like jump into it like in episode out of any order in that and just have a story from beginning to end.
Yeah. I look forward to the Mirror Universe episode that will undoubtedly happen.
Oh, yeah.
Because I need to see Pike with a beard.
And then Spock has a beard again.
Yes.
And you're just like...
So
or maybe
confused.
he won't have a beard because
Yeah.
then he'll meet him and be like, wait, I don't. Aren't you supposed to have one?
I miss
Oh,
you
that was
so
last
much.
season.
And starts stroking his beard.
Some lower deck stuff. It's not going to happen. Oh, man. Yeah, I'm excited for episodic content. I'm just so excited to see like more about these characters because we're so excited for these actors' portrayals of the characters, which you've already discussed. But it'll be nice to finally learn about number one because we have barely anything on her. Pike, we finally got to see more of in Discovery, but we still haven't seen anything of him aside from, Menagerie in the Cage. And then it wasn't even the same actor in both of them.
Which reminds me, I still have to bring over short treks for you to watch so you can watch the two that he's in because they're both very good.
Yeah, I'm excited.
I love that Rebecca Romaine was saying how excited she was when she talked to the writers about her backstory and how they had already started to figure out things. I like that they're all sort of figuring out different, because they have to take on these very important characters. And there is a precedent with Star Trek fans because they're so highly regarded, even though we don't know much about them, except for Spock. But not Spock in this time period. So even Leonard Nimoy, Ethan Peck was saying that he was reading I Am Spock and I Am Not Spock, and then he was going through a bunch of philosophy books and physics books and all these different things just for different contexts because he's dealing with what happened in Disco season 2. But
to be fair, if tomorrow they made you Spock on a show, like you would be like, oh, yeah, I'm reading every day. I'm reading every physics book ever. Like, I am Spock.
Yeah, I also like that Pike was like, you know what? I don't really know what I'm doing yet, but I assume that I will figure it out as it goes on.
Like he's like, I don't know what I'm doing, and neither does Pike. So win-win.
Yeah.
Speaking of Pike, he, as you guys were saying, he has to deal with the fact that he knows his fate. That's kind of something. Anytime we've talked about Strange New Worlds, or the Menagerie or the Cage, he touched on how he, as an actor and as a character, is going to deal with knowing that he knows he has to take the eventual promotion to fleet captain in order for that fate to run its course. And Anson Mount also talked about exploring the emotional toll that is going to have on him, not just as a human being, but as someone who still has to command a crew and be this kind of larger than life figure. Are we excited to kind of see him be able to act that out? Because as an actor, that's like a pretty cool challenge to have, I would think.
I was going to say he has a long road ahead of him.
Oh boy. I think this is going to really play out in the writing. Is he going to fight his fate? Is it going to make him question his decisions? Like, he has no idea when this is coming, but he knows it's coming and that. So, for somebody like him, I assume he's going to end up trying to fight it at some point.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I think he's going to go towards it, but I think it's going to affect him. Like he'll meet new crew members that he'll see in his vision, right? And he'll be like, oh, that'll take him back. Like, I feel like those things are going to affect him, but he will get to that point because he has to. And He's that type of person. I feel
exactly. If there's one thing that we've learned about Pike from season 2 of Discovery and a couple of short treks is that he is very dedicated to the uniform and doing what's right. Yeah, he doesn't mind cutting a corner like Kirk did, and maybe not to Kirk's extent. It is still during that era of quote unquote cowboy diplomacy in Starfleet. And yeah, I think he'll flirt with the idea of trying to change it, but ultimately that's not who Christopher Pike is.
I feel like it's going to lead to like a very nuanced performance on his end. Like it's not like he's going to have this cookie cutter role where he knows for sure, like, this is the type of person and captain I am. I'm going to be chipper all the time, or I'm going to be like this. I feel like it's definitely going to influence his actions from here on out, whether he decides, okay, I know I'm going to die at some point. It may be sooner than I think. Maybe I should like take more opportunities or like engage fully. But then on the flip side, like there might be moments where he's like that and he maybe can't explain to people it's like you need to like enjoy life while you have it. And then he'll have that reversal where maybe some episodes he's like really dealing with the fact that like his fate is predetermined, or a scenario might pop up that reflects like a death that's happening or whatever, or he has to give advice to somebody, and it'll be interesting. I feel like we're going to see a real duality in his character, like even more so than he's already portrayed, and, you know, being caring and sort of fatherly to people. And then also, you know, like such a good, strong captain. So I feel like whatever Pike we're going to see in this show is going to be like such a good addition to the Pike we've already seen in Discovery. He'll be different, but in like a really cool way.
Yeah.
I think if anything, it'll push Pike towards getting his own little horse section on the Enterprise. Yeah. And that's what I really want to see. And
that's his therapy, right?
Exactly. He needs his horses.
He's like, I need a menagerie for tiny ponies. Don't ask why. It needs to happen before the star date.
Yeah. Eric, you mentioned Rebecca Romaine being ridiculously excited about her character, number one, and getting to, you know, build upon literally maybe 10 minutes less of, you know, Majel Barrett playing the role originally. Mm-hmm. Her backstory apparently is going to be quote unquote mind blowing. And just using those words, it's like, holy shit, who is she? Like, why does she only go by number one? Why does she hate her name? What is so mind blowing about her character? Why is she this strong central figure? I can't wait to find out.
Yeah, I wonder what she did. One.
Yeah, exactly. Right? What did she do? Is she a clone?
I think she just really, I hope her character just really knows who she is. Do you know what I mean? Like, whatever her backstory is, I'm sure it's going to be like amazing and awesome. It's the first time anybody's going to see it in Star Trek, so it's not like anybody can be like, oh, I already knew this from canon. Push up their glasses. Looking at you, Eric. No, actually, both of you. Hawk would have it memorized. He'd be like, well, in season 1, episode 3, the original number 1 said this one line, which indicates
I just had my Star Trek encyclopedia out the other day, so.
Well, see, you're all better than me. And he'll be like, she actually has a clone, twin sister.
There's number 2.
Her last name is Lettuce. Because Romaine. But I'm excited. I forget where I was going with this, but I feel like she knows who she is, but we don't know who she is. And that's what's going to make her character gripping and exciting. And she'll probably end up being everyone's favorite number 1. Like they mentioned when they were discussing the panel, and they're like, who knows if you can out Riker? Like, you can take him out of his position. But I'm like, I don't know.
Well, she's out Jerry O'Connelling in their own household, so.
Yeah.
But, I mean, he's new to being number 1, so he's automatically the number 2.
Yeah.
Would you want to know the full backstory, or do you want to just get glimpses of it and leave that history?
I want her to
I
be
hope it's glimpses.
Glimpses.
Yeah.
I want it to be like you don't know her until the very last episode of the show. Then she's like, oh, by the way, I'm so-and-so's niece. And you're like, but not like a Ray Palpatine situation where like that shit was just made up on the day. And JJ's like, no, we're totally fine.
Hello, nephew Kirk.
Yeah.
Why'd you have to bring that up? I was so happy for like 50 minutes, and now it's just brought me back down.
No, it's got to be like little anecdotal stories that pop up throughout the series, and that it's like, did you know that she did this one time? It's like, wow.
Yeah, like how Mariner's like that one time I was on this ship, and you're like, you did that?
Yeah.
Maybe like the ensigns are just like telling like ghost stories about her or something like that. Oh my god.
Like rumors. And then she sometimes confirms them or says stuff, but then like you don't know if she's lying or not.
She'll give a look and she's like,
Yeah. Be like, that was one time.
Everyone gets one.
Finally, because of the Jerry O'Connell, Rebecca Romaine household, there was a joke on the panel about doing a Lower Decks Strange New Worlds half animated, half live action crossover. And of course, it's just a joke. But then you have the whole Star Trek community who are
I don't think it's
petitioning for this shit to happen, a la Who Framed Roger Rabbit. And I am in for it.
I hope they do it that way, or they do a crossover episode on each side where it's like you did the animated episode on Lower Decks and then you get the live action on Strange New Worlds, and it's I hope it's something where they like go through a portal or something weird happens and next thing you know, they're in like an animated dimension, so that way they're like, wait, like I know what ship you are. I know you, Boimler. I know you, Mariner. Like I know of you, but why are you animated? Why am I animated?
Why
and
are
then
we
in
in the past just like seeing Boimler freak the fuck out about temporal mechanics? Like
exactly. Or on the flip side, maybe they go through a portal and then they're like, oh my God, we're all 3D. What the fuck? Like, I don't know. It'll be amazing.
Well, we know that guest appearances are starting up for Lower Decks, and that with the news this week that John Delancey will be reprising his role as Q.
Fucking wait.
Especially after this episode, right?
Yeah, yes. So many Q references.
I feel like when they started talking about this crossover, it was a serious thing, but they didn't mention it was going to be with Lower Decks. That was just Michaela saying, hey, is it with Lower Decks? And then they sort of just went off jokingly. And I sort of wanted them to go back and talk about what crossover they were talking about initially.
I think it was with Lower Decks, though, right?
I think it was. Maybe it wasn't.
I don't know. It didn't seem that way at first.
I don't know.
One can dream.
Because I thought the one dude whose name I'm forgetting,
Akiva?
like the showrunnery dude, he was
Mike
mentioning
McMahon?
that he was in discussions with it. It wasn't him. It was like that other guy that was on. I thought.
Yeah,
probably Kurtzman or Akiva.
Yeah, but they like mentioned it, and then he said we're in talks for a crossover episode.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh my God, are you going to be animated? And he was like, and then they said, or is it going to be like a Roger Rabbit situation? So he didn't deny that it was Lower Decks. You think he would have been like, okay, not Lower Decks, but maybe something else. Like, you think they would deny it pretty quick.
I assume it's going to be like a crossover with the disco stuff. Like all the Klingons and all of the maybe the people they've seen already. But yeah. Maybe
why
they
not
did
a
another
three-way
series.
crossover? Three-way crossover. Discovery, Lower Decks, and Strange New Worlds. Hell, we'll throw Section 31 if they ever get their shit together.
3 different timelines. That would be epic.
Just pop Picard in there. They've been doing like the DC crossovers for years. They might as well do Star Trek.
Crisis on Infinite Enterprises or something. Whatever.
Yes.
Maybe they get actors from Lower Decks to actually appear as their real selves on the show.
That's what I meant.
Yeah.
Like when they show up like and they're actually like normal looking, but they don't even mention that they're cartoons. Like it's just completely normal.
Could you imagine Jerry O'Connell trying to hit on Rebecca Romaine? That would totally happen.
Oh my God.
I can't wait. I hope that's the crossover.
Yeah. That'd be
maybe her backstory is she dated him once. Or plot twist, she's already married to Ransom.
For our listeners live right now, if you're lurking in the chat, let us know what you would like to see from a crossover Strange New Worlds Lower Decks episode. And if you're listening in podcast form or watching on YouTube, email us at strangenewpod@gmail.com. Give us your wacky crossover idea. We'd love to hear it, and we'll read it on next week's episode. So hit us up in the email, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all that jazz. Speaking of Lower Decks, it's time to put that blast shield down. Let's hit it. Let's get back on board the Cerritos. We're back this week with a cold open again. And I'm just going to say it right away. It's probably my favorite cold open of the series so far. What about you guys?
Yep. I loved it. I loved it so much. I don't know if it's my favorite one because I really like the little glowy ball one.
Oh, the glowy. That was so fucking funny. Yeah, it was up there. But also, like, I like that you've seen a preview for this cold open before, and then we finally got the whole scene, so it felt so rewarding.
Yeah.
Because you're like, when do they do the warp core? And then you're like, ah!
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked it.
I loved all like, well, Voyager sounded like this, and the Enterprise D at Warp 4 sounded like this.
No, it's higher pitched than that.
Yeah, and then Ransom's just like, there's something really wrong here. And just, dude, Boimler is always getting something either broken or getting tackled by someone. Like,
yeah. I like when he does tackle him and then he's like, ah, and then she's like, oh wait, it is higher pitch because his voice goes up. So she's like, oh yeah, it is whiny like that.
Yeah, this is our Lower Decks episode 6, which is titled Terminal Provocations Review. And this week on the show, the lovable but awkward Ensign Fletcher makes work very difficult for Mariner and Boimler.
I didn't find him lovable at all.
No,
Either.
I was like, I knew right away. I was like, he's too good to be true. And then when they wanted to go to the Chu Chu like music fest or whatever, like that performance, and then he was like, no, it's fine. You guys can go. I'll take care of this myself. I was like, I'm watching you, motherfucker. But then the camera panned away. So then I was like, I missed it. But I know you're up to something.
No, he was too good to be true. It made him suspicious right off the bat that something was going to go down with this character. It actually reminded me of that Rick and Morty episode in that when the parasites get into the house and that, and they just appear as like, that person that you never have a bad memory about.
Yeah, but they're there and you're just like, how do I know you again? Or like, oh, it's just so-and-so. And you're just like, but
yeah,
but we've always known you.
I feel like Fletcher moved into like, what was his name on Short Treks? H. John Benjamin. Who do you play?
Oh,
Edward, right?
Guy? Yeah, the trouble with Edward.
Yeah, he started moving towards Edward territory, and I was like, oh no.
And you've never seen Fletcher before in the show, so you already knew. You're just like, oh god, he's like, who's this dude?
I actually thought for a second that Fletcher, because he looks almost identical to him, was the guy who ascended a couple of episodes ago. Mm-hmm. He looked very similar. I'm like, oh, did he descend?
Yeah, right. He came back.
Just like Wesley.
The koala pooped him out. Yeah.
Oh god.
Oh my god. Then we had the B plot with Tendi and Rutherford having never finished her spacewalking class at the academy. Rutherford introduces Tendi to a holodeck training program that he created and goes horribly, horribly wrong.
I love it.
I'd
argue that both of these were B plots. This was like the everything goes wrong. Like this is like two terrible B plots Star Trek episode because they exist in every show.
Yeah.
Where you're just like, oh god, holodeck fiasco, which is what this was, and then also freaking AI. So like you got both those B plots in one episode, and you're just like, this is entertainment.
Yeah.
This could almost be like, this was almost like a 3-plot episode in that. So C plot being like,
the bridge crew,
the alien race flinging garbage at the Cerritos.
I feel like there's always
Jack's just wanting to blow shit up and never
that's fair.
I've been really good this month.
You're right.
There was a part, like there was a small portion of the episode where it's like, was it Shax who like stunned him just so that he could blow up something?
Oh, right. Yeah, that would be great.
I thought Rutherford was so incredibly cute this episode. Like when he was like, I need to do this for Tendi. She's so cute.
Like, she's so cute.
They are so hot for each other. It's unbelievable.
It's so hot.
Yeah,
we'll get to that. But first, first we had Forky and now we have Badgie.
Badgie is amazing. Like, as soon as he popped up and I heard that it was Jack McBrayer's voice, I was just like, 1, this is going to be amazing. 2, I'm already getting Major Clippy and Mr. DNA vibes. Yeah. So, shit is going to go down.
Your DNA.
Well, hello there. What can I help you with?
He is so good at he's obviously got that sweet nature to him in that, but I've seen some like little shorts he's done in that where he's just like using that sweet little tone of Georgia drawl in that to talk about some really dark shit in that. And so this was kind of a perfect role for him to do that.
Yeah.
Do you want to learn about the death penalty?
Oh, God.
I'll help you out.
He was on Big Mouth and his character there was also quite...
Let's talk about the A plot. And I feel like this episode really had that age-old lesson of like never relying on someone. Like this like had a valuable life lesson in it. Never rely on someone else to finish a job or trust a fellow coworker because nothing in life is ever free and there's always a catch and a repercussion.
Mm-hmm.
But it was totally worth it for Chu Chu, especially when they went Chu Chu Chu.
Chu.
Genius.
And when I made eye contact with her on stage, when they did that third shoot, I started to cry.
I saw you cry.
You were there.
Don't even lie.
Yeah, you really were there. Dude, finally seeing the Delta shift.
Yeah.
And they're just like,
oh God, yeah.
Shift. What are you doing up at the same time? And they're like, fuck you, Delta shift. We know what you did.
Shouldn't you be getting ready for bed?
Don't undo your lapel.
I love how when they go to fight, it's like they're like ready. They like, get all disheveled too. Oh,
Yeah. But do you think that this episode was kind of trying to like remind people and teach that life lesson? I know kids watch this show too. I don't know if they should be, but they do.
Not this episode.
Not this one. No.
So much blood and gore.
This is the one that I didn't show.
This episode reminded me
skin.
you have to treat technology nicely. I knew the minute like when he was freezing up and like Rutherford was getting angry at him, I was like, don't touch him, leave him alone, let him finish. And then he kicks him and I was just like, oh, you did this to yourself.
That's some Skynet shit.
It is.
Was some serious Skynet shit. Hawk, you were just saying it. I think it was Hawk or Eric that Rutherford. Yeah, Hawk. That Rutherford and Tendi are just totally have the hots for each other. Headed over to the B plot. The feeling definitely seems to be mutual. Do we like that this might be turning romantic, or do we want them to just be friends?
I love it.
I've shipped it since day one.
Me too.
Same.
Yeah.
Hots on the holodeck. Let's go.
Magnetic boots locking.
Dude,
that was so cute.
That wasn't a metaphor.
It was like Wally and Eve, like cute.
Yes.
And they're so awkward about it and that. I mean, like, Rutherford, this whole thing was like, him trying to impress her, and it was a half-finished program.
Yeah.
To be fair, though, have you ever started working on something and you're like, this is going to be really cool, but I'm so excited I got to show someone now?
No. Yeah. I don't do that.
No.
I can't.
Not a program, but like...
I'm too much of a perfectionist that I can't show things, and then I don't finish things because I don't.
I showed Julie in my like home studio like 5 times before it was actually done. I was like, look how far I got now. Look how far I got now.
To be fair, I did email or send Julian a picture of my computer setup before I finished it, and I've done it like 4 or 5 times since that first time.
If any one of us on our Strange New Pod crew here have the closest resemblance to an Enterprise or Starship bridge, it is definitely Eric. Like no contest at all.
His workstation pretty much looks like the architect chamber from the Matrix Reloaded.
Yeah.
Wow. I believe it. I've seen all the VHSs.
Yes.
But the one line that really got me that I loved, and he was like, I was just trying to impress you. And Tendi goes, Rutherford, I am impressed by you every day. And like, listen, even though he may be trying to kill us, Badgie's a really awesome piece of coding. Like, good job, buddy.
Yeah.
Like, you rock, man.
As they're like walking up the steps forever.
You can do it. Wait, what am I doing?
Yeah. When they teleported to the Bajorn market and they put on the hoods and they're like, we got to go. And as soon as he like tackled the first guy, I was just like, oh my God. He's like,
He broke his arm. Oh my God.
I'm going to rip out your eyes.
And bathe in your blood.
Yeah, and the bathing in the blood was a reference to the other episode.
Yeah, when Mariner's like, I'm going to bathe in your blood.
Yeah.
My God.
There's a lot of wanting to dance in blood. I like it.
I mean, it's like a rage mood, you know? Like, it would never happen in real life, but it's totally just a crazy thing you want to say to somebody when you're like, I'm fucking crazy and I want you to know it. My
favorite line was at the end when Badgie was freezing to death. If I'm not mistaken, it was like, I'm going to cut off your foot.
Community.
Dude, I cracked up during that part because when he's like, Father, and he's like, shh, it's over now. And
it was like
Karen fucking lost it when Rutherford broke his neck.
There were like shades of like Star Wars there when he's like father son. Like, oh my God, it starts. Oh my God,
this was like so much of parody, and it like I laughed out loud during that plot line more than I did like for like the AI stuff that was happening. Like I also thought it was funny that they threw trash and stuff, but like this was definitely like the holy shit, like crazy holodeck. Like I can't even believe this plot line, and I loved it.
Badgie is definitely my favorite like secondary character that has shown up on this show. Like, bar none.
Agreed.
Just the best.
Is Badgie the new Moriarty?
Oh my God, yes, I would love that. I was thinking about that
still
as we
there.
were watching it. Like,
I'm always here.
Especially at the end, and you're just like, maybe he's just continually learning, and maybe one day they'll send him off on his own fake shuttlecraft.
He'll be back.
I like that Rutherford was like, okay, bye, like patted him on the shoulder, like, damn, I hope he doesn't remember what just happened. And he walks away and he's just like, I'll always be here. And I was like,
I don't think it's the last that we've seen of Badgie.
It's like evil Kenneth.
Yeah.
Couldn't handle it. You know what I did love this episode? I loved, I mentioned last episode that Mariner and Boimler's friendship has grown, and I like it more because Boimler's becoming a better character because he's not just being that annoying guy, Like, there's actual depth to him now, and he's not just, like, stuff happens. He still gets tackled, and it's fucking funny because we're like, oh, Boimler. But, like, now we know that he's Bradward. He's our Bradward now. And just even the episode, the fact that they said it, like, when they're working together to fight the AI, and they weren't, like, being, like, overly annoying or whatever, and she's just like, you're actually not annoying today. And he's like, you're not annoying today. This is great. We're doing an awesome job.
Yeah.
Just goes to show.
No matter
Choo-choo.
what, how annoying Boimler can get, you still know he's damn competent at his job, And I think this episode really reflected how you really need to be competent to do this job.
Yeah. This is the first episode of the series that I didn't want to punch Boimler in the face at least once.
See?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think this episode also confirmed our theory earlier on when we talked about the show that, like, they're never going to get promoted until maybe, like, the end, like, of the show or something, because, like, Boimler easily, they could have said it was them and then got promoted, but, like, they got him promoted and off the ship, like Fletcher. And I like that she said, like, he's our enemy now. Like, they have a nemesis. And he goes to Titan, and he's like, could you believe I got fired? And they're like, oh, man,
We're going to the temple about Q. Q's doing weird Q shit. Yeah.
How long did it take for him to get fired? Was it 6 weeks
6
or
days?
6
It was
days.
6
days.
Yeah.
Oh, Boimler, isn't that your dream gig? Yes.
Who should have known you couldn't throw trash into a warp core? Isn't that what it's like for? And everything burns up.
See, I've got so many questions. How does the guy coast through, like, Starfleet Academy and that on just his personality?
Well, it is on the San Francisco Bay Coast, so
Oh, Julian.
Hey.
But I liked that Fletcher tries to call out Mariner for, like, disobeying rules and stuff, and that's what he did. But I like that she finally says, she's like, I disobey shit rules that shouldn't exist, but I don't put anybody's life in danger. And it's so true, because earlier
Except
on the
for
show, we're
Boimler.
like, why
Except
do we
for
love
Boimler.
this? True. She's like, except for him. But, like, a lot of people, some people that had hesitations were like, why is everybody liking this character that's, like, basically, like, she doesn't care, she's against, like, the higher ups, like, she disobeys all these rules. But if you watch the show, you realize she knows a lot. She usually saves the day, and she's right.
Yeah.
And the
She's
shit that
always
she
right.
disobeys is something. Yeah, she's always right.
You kind of stole it right. I was going to say, like, I don't know if that went over most people's heads in this episode, but, like, that was a really important Mariner moment. Like, especially like we are Starfleet. Like, we could do this. And she was like, listen, does she do a lot of stupid shit to get back at her mom and dad because they're, like, Starfleet brass? Hell yeah, she does. But she also cares about her job as much as she doesn't want to, admit it or make it seem like she does. She has everybody's well-being in mind. And I think that was very apparent in this episode. And I like that the writers went there with that.
Lower decks always stick together. Well, maybe just
lower
some of us.
decks.
Yeah, some lower decks.
Yeah.
We're Starfleet. I love the show always does, like, the woo.
Yeah.
Her and Boimler seems to work so well together,
So well.
especially in
And
a
I love
crisis.
it.
Yeah.
I think they have, like, a mutual respect now, especially after the last episode where she, like, bonded with his girlfriend,
Barb.
who's now his ex, Barb.
Yeah.
Brinson.
So they've grown a lot more, and it's better that they're not, like, I mean, even at the end of the first episode, she's like, I'll take you under my wing, whatever. It's, like, genuine, and now you're actually seeing it grow.
Yeah.
So I like that.
All right, guys, let's get into our favorite part of the show for our Lower Decks bonus pause each week, Easter egg time. And just right off the bat, Sherlock Holmes, Robin Hood, Stephen Hawking. There were, like,
Socrates.
so
Sigmund
many
Freud.
Da Vinci. I loved when Rutherford was talking about all of the dumb shit people do in the holodeck.
Yeah.
Janeway is such a Da Vinci holodeck user.
Oh my God, yes.
I was like, girl,
she
calm
was there
down.
more than just for the art.
Right?
Mm.
And I love how it was Gimli, like John Rhys Davis.
Yeah.
I was like, Gimli is fucking Da Vinci. Oh my God.
And then this is the big one this week, and I was really happy to hear it. The USS Titan, for those that don't know, is Captain Riker's ship during this period of time. This is the ship that he leaves the Enterprise to command. So it was actually kind of funny when it was Mariner, like, isn't that your dream? Or Fletcher's
Boimler?
like,
Yeah.
Is that your dream
Robin was
job?
like, is that your dream job? And Boimler's like, yeah, well, whatever. Yeah, it's because it's Riker's ship. Like, who wouldn't want to serve under Captain Riker? And I love that it was referenced that he got fired from the Titan.
So you know that it was him who did it too.
Yeah,
Riker's the one who did it.
Yeah.
Who would fire me? And for hardcore Star Trek fans, like, oh, Riker, Riker, duh.
Yeah. Riker probably noticed him on the 6th day and immediately was like, nah, he's out.
With this much Riker talk, do you think Jonathan Frakes is going to show up soon?
100%.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's always going to be involved. And maybe
Yes.
this time it won't be pizza related.
Him and Marina Sirtis.
Although I love it.
I think that part of the reason they used the Vancouver ship model was to see if they can get away with it animated, because it's very reminiscent of what the Titan looks like.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I think the success of this first season also is going to bring more of the Star Trek casts or previous casts are going to be more willing to just even hop in for a minute to like drop a line, like reference their characters, because fans actually love the show. It's doing it's a parody in a loving way, like we mentioned.
Yeah.
Star Trek is like the mafia. Once you're in, you never ever get out.
It's true. I've tried to leave.
Pull me back in. All right, and then obviously Q is referenced about 1,000 times. We know he's coming back. I loved that. It was a Q, and Q came and took we can blame it on Q.
I love at the end when they're taunting him with that. Oh no, a Q showed up. It's doing some crazy stuff. Woo!
They referenced Q so early in the season too, because remember we were just like, oh man, I feel like it's been like, if not every episode, like every other episode they've dropped some like heavy Q shit.
It's probably going to be a fourth wall break. That is why he shows up to say, they keep mentioning me on this goddamn show. I had to show up.
Yeah. What do you want? I'm trying to seduce Janeway. Like something like that.
Did I miss any other Easter eggs? Did you guys catch anything else this week?
There was the Sulu pattern.
Yes, Sulu Alpha. They had Starbase 80.
Starbase 80.
He mentioned some sort of technique that it was when he was trying to fix the core. And he tried to Kowalski this.
Yeah, Kowalski. That's wasn't he the guy who tried to break the warp 10 barrier on the Enterprise, and that's when the Traveler shows up? Wasn't that Kowalski?
Yeah.
I think. Don't quote me on that. I'm almost positive. Though.
Maybe he meant Koala Sky.
Yeah, maybe. Dude, I laughed the hardest at that line when the Doctor goes to Mariner's like, if you want to dick around, just go to Starbase 80. And the guy in the background goes, damn, Starbase 80.
Yeah.
I
laughed too so hard because the person in the background is like, oh, damn, Starbase 80. And you're like
Starbase 80's got to be a bad place.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And
just how everyone's faces were just like, oh, no, she didn't go there.
What was the name of the people that were throwing the trash at him? It was like Drukmani or something? Drukmani?
The Drukmani, yeah. Perfect.
Drukmani,
I couldn't remember it.
I love how they threw part of a starship at them. Like literally, it was like NCC 502.
Yeah, they were TOS era ships.
Yeah, so they were just like, just throwing it at them.
Yeah.
I love how belligerent they were in that. It's like, we are not trying to fight you. Evading fighting. Yeah.
So great. And I love that she literally she's like, I'm trying to avoid an all-out war. And then finally when they see the AI crawling into the ship, they're like, what the hell did we do that?
But I also love that Freeman at this point is just so pissed off at them hawking shit that she's not even don't target their nacelles, don't target their shield emitter, target their warp core.
Yeah.
Blow them out of the fucking sky.
Yeah.
I love that Fletcher and Boimler are talking about their academy days, and then they started talking about the Nassicans. Just like
the Nassicans.
Just
remember when that Nassican wanted to eat your heart?
Just like Picard, when Picard got stabbed through the heart in Tapestry.
Yes.
Tapestries.
Human play Danja.
And Fletcher also plugged his brain into the computer, just like Barkley did on TNG, which I thought was hilarious.
But it hit a null circuit.
But I like that they tackle tropes every episode, like the rogue AI. They tackle specific episodes because we had the monster of the week last week, basically. If you think about it, and then this one was rogue AI and holodeck.
Yeah, killer holodeck programs.
Yeah, and so it's just it's so great because they're poking fun at Star Trek, but it's also this is so Trek.
Yeah, and then next week, based on the trailer, they're talking about transporter errors.
Yes,
I can't wait to see phased out Boimler. Yeah. That's going to be
You're
hilarious.
phasing. Oh no, everything's fine. No, it doesn't look fine at all. It's the opposite of that.
All right, guys. Well, next week we will be back to normal with our bonus pod of episode 7 of Lower Decks. But before we close out this episode, we have to get to the mailbag. So let's hit it.
Hailing frequencies are open.
Who wants to take the first one from Reddit?
The field below said, Commander Non lives. We will not riot.
I guess people were going to riot if Non wasn't on season 3. I love Non.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I'm a non-believer.
I liked her line that like all the yeah, no. No. All the gatekeepers got so mad about when she was like, do you want to go? Someone asked her to like go work on something with them, and she goes, yum. And I was like, I love that line when she said yum, and people are like, oh my God, why would anybody ever say yum? I'm like, I like her. She's a cool character.
Yeah.
Eric, why don't you take the next one?
Elister said, whatever the burn is, it will solve Emperor Giorgio's going back into time to warn the Federation, which kickstarts the Section 31 spinoff.
It's a possibility.
Yeah.
For sure.
Time is wonky.
Yeah. I don't know if she, like, I would love to see Section 31 in their now time.
I agree.
With Giorgio.
Yeah. Brittany?
Destroying Drax said, have they actually ever said when the Section 31 show is supposed to be in the timeline? What if it's Giorgio recreating the Section 31 in the future?
So just what Eric said.
Yep. I should have read that comment.
That's my bad. Yeah, I think this is the logical step. I love that at the end. She was like, we stick together. Yeah, I don't want to see them do another like go to the past, go to TNG or just stay 900 years in the future.
I agree.
Stay in the Delta Quadrant, why don't you?
Damn.
Don't ever come home.
Go through the wormhole.
Jesus.
I will
See the prophets.
I'll go back to Hawk. You want to read this one from Twitter?
Yeah, sure. From Twitter, from Rob Digi1701 said, Badgie was a great riff on Clippy, but in that vein, it would have been so much more cathartic if Rutherford and Tendi had had a good long sequence of beating him up. Ha ha.
I feel like if he wasn't going to stay like in the holodeck, like to be a recurring character or like in the background, he's still there as a threat, I think they totally would have done that. But since like Rutherford kills him in such a dramatic way, and then like when they get back, he's still there. Like if they would have both beat him up, then he'd been like right there. So
I don't see Tendi doing that. It just doesn't seem like her character.
It's not very Tendi,
she kept
right?
walking when they did fight. She was like, either that or she froze.
She was
to death.
rooting for him to walk up. She was like, you can do it, buddy.
Program's worst enemy is stairs.
Eric, why don't you wrap up the mailbag for us with this last little tweet?
All right. Far Beyond the Stars said regarding Badgie ripping eyes out, that fact wasn't fun. Wasn't it?
I love that he said fun fact because like he's doing that annoying clippy thing where it pops up and it's like, hey, do you want to know this? Hey, you need a help or a fact? But like, how many times have I interrupted you guys with fun fact and then just interact? So the fact that was his tagline, I was like, oh my God, if I was murderous, I'd be this annoying asshole. Instead, I'm just this annoying asshole.
He also had another one that was very similar. It's like, here's a tip. I'm going to burn your hearts in a fire.
So great.
Yeah. Oh my God. I love that.
The poor Bajorans though, in the marketplace. I was like, haven't they been through enough? And he's like ripping a dude's arm off. And
all the
like,
people to use, they went to Bajor. Like, come on, man.
Bajoran marketplace.
Loved it.
I'm just hoping for the eventual spin-off with Badgie and Moriarty. They're just going to go off in adventures.
They might.
Holding hands.
Oh my God, killing people while holding hands.
Oh man, I loved it.
I feel like there was something else about that one scene with Fletcher when he says that he got fired, and it's something with what Mariner and Boimler say. I can't remember, but there was something else I liked there that made me laugh. It got lost.
They had aerosol cans for some reason.
Well, yeah, I like that, and then they're like, "Oh, it's time stuff, whatever."
I'm gonna use something to use
Emperor Rift
consoles. That might have been a throwback to him not wiping off the consoles for Delta Shift.
Probably.
Maybe.
There's so much. I always forget So much.
Anyway, you too can get on the mailbag. You can comment live if you're watching on our Twitch streams. You can email us at estrangenewpod@gmail.com. You can comment on our Facebook, on our Twitter, on our Instagram. We are going to be back next week with what, Eric?
We are going to be talking about the greatest of TNG films, Generations.
Said with not a sarcastic tone at
Not at all.
Not at all. We are going to be doing that. We already have a good amount of mailbag for that episode, so I'm really excited. If you want to get your takes,
I wonder why.
Yeah,
There
right.
are lots of strong thoughts about that.
Somebody's going to write, but doesn't TNG stand for the next generation? What's wrong with these generations? And we're like, oh, God.
Oh, God.
All right.
But you have until Saturday to get your mailbag in there. So you could hit us up on our Reddit post on the main Star Trek Reddit, which is our Star Trek. You can hit us up, like I said, on Facebook, Twitter, Insta, and email. That is going to do it for our episode. So thank you for those listening live. Thanks for listening later on podcast and video form. For Eric, for Hawk, for Brittany, I'm Julian. Majram, live long and prosper.
You stole it from me.
I remember what I loved. They did the sarcastic.
Yeah, this
afterward.
Look out for each other.
Yeah, but it was just funny because that's the thing. That's like their thing now. So when they hung up, they're like to each other. So they're like,
Remember
yo,
when Brittany said how she always interrupts us?
Well, I remembered it, so I wanted to mention it because I was like trailing off and I forgot.
I like it. All right. Well, that is going to do it for this episode. So once we get
You killed her.
We killed Brittany. We vaporized her. Majram, live long and prosper. We will see you next Friday.
Thanks for beaming into our podcast today. If you want to keep the hailing frequencies open, you can subscribe on Apple and Google Podcasts, YouTube, and Spotify. Like what you hear? Put in a good word with Starfleet and leave us a 5-star review.